In this video, I wanted to talk about the dangers of electrolyte imbalance as a kidney patient trying to combine foods properly and use herbs effectively and stay above the curve of toxicity. So, I am end stage kidney failure on dialysis, and I'm a type 1 diabetic. Now, potassium is a specific electrolyte that can be dangerous at low and life threatening at high levels. The side effect from imbalance in this electrolyte is usually some type of muscle weakness, brain fog, or literally muscle cramps or contracture. And when you put sugar on top of that, you'll get stickiness in between the muscle fibers from the carbonic acid and the acids that accumulate on the muscles from use, lactic acid, carbonic acid, other waste, acidic waste products that could get in the mix and further your progress towards a clean, high functioning muscular and mental system. All these things are affected by the electrolyte imbalance. As a person who's type 1 diabetic, I'm insulin dependent. My regular insulin draws heavily on my available potassium, which kind of augments the way that my body desperately holds on to potassium so that it has something to use for my insulin, and which shows in my lab reports from dialysis. My potassium levels are always high, and they are always trying to get on me about that. But I have to, appease their senses and let them know that, hey, my potassium has been high for 10 years, 9 years or whatever, and it just stays that way because of the drawback that I have from taking the insulin. So my electrolyte balances have been difficult to rein in. I have to avoid, bananas and stuff, but sometimes I have to go straight for the high potassium foods. Magnesium is another good electrolyte, calcium, another good electrolyte, and another one right off the top of my head. I'm sorry, I can't remember it, but I'm experiencing a little brain fog right now, literally because my potassium is kind of high. So I have to eat foods that are devoid of nutritional value and potassium electrolytes and take insulin to keep my potassium down. It drives the potassium down from taking insulin, but it also drives my blood sugar down. So I ate some pancakes, took my insulin. I'm feeling much better. The thing about it is the feeling from the high electrolyte imbalance goes away before my blood sugar actually is equalized or before my blood sugar starts to go down. So the process of lowering the blood serum potassium happens before the process of lowering the blood sugar. Even though they're two different mechanisms, but they work hand in hand when it comes to utilizing that energy from the electrolytes to send those signals and make the processes possible. So with having that said, it is terribly difficult for a person to just eat fruits and vegetables and herbs like I'm supposed to, or to combine my foods properly and eat only alkaline, because as a person without kidney function, I become sick and poisoned from the things that are supposed to be helping me, which is mainly potassium and those electrolytes. I'll take 2 steps forward doing like a fruit diet and drinking, my 3 bitters. But then I'll run into the ceiling when it comes to electrolyte space in between dialysis visits. and I'll have to eat, I have to eat complex sugars so that I can take insulin and bring that potassium ceiling to a norm so that I can just, feel normal like I do now. I had pancakes, I feel normal. I took insulin. My blood sugar is going to go down after it comes up from the pancakes, and I already feel better from the potassium, but now I just have to wait for that blood sugar to come down, because if it doesn't, I'll start to feel crappy again from high blood sugar, and the feeling is similar to high potassium. It wasn't always like that. It kind of grew and became that as I grew and became with my ailments, with my disease, with my diabetes and kidney failure. It's like, constantly taking 2 steps forward, 1 back. So 2 steps forward, 1 back. Sometimes I'll take 3 steps forward and I'll have to take 2 back. Sometimes I'll take 1 step forward and I have to take 2 back, because those electrolytes are important and they really affect your quality of life when it's all out of balance. The balancing act is a slippery one, and it's constant with eating food and stuff. I got some ideas, like maybe I could just eat low potassium, one type of low potassium fruit, like going back to the apple diet, like that I had out of my intuition at the beginning of this thing. Just doing something like 2 apples a day and some water. My potassium will never get bothered by the low potassium apple. I'll have enough sugar. It'll be metabolizable fructose, so I won't have to take regular insulin. Thing is like, the farther I go into that, the less effective my insulin becomes, because my insulin resistance will start to change as I move forward into this fruit only, or this water only, or it's crazy how the effectiveness of the insulin will just completely disappear if I'm only eating like a little bit of naturally occurring fructose in the morning, because my liver is going to handle it, so the insulin value is just gone. And then I'll try to take insulin when I need it, say if my electrolytes get out of balance, and then it still works to lower my electrolytes, but it won't do anything for my blood sugar for like a day and a half until I get that insulin resistance put back into whack. So it's a difficult thing that I have to deal with all the time, every day, with eating food and wanting to eat healthy, but not actually being able to. So I've decided to cycle in and cycle out in between my dialysis visits, which are every other day, TTS. So on the weekend, which is like today is a Monday, it's like the odd day out where I have to go an extra day. My goal is to make sure I feel good on a Monday and don't feel overtaxed from potassium or fluid retention, since I have the extra day to deal with on a weekly basis. So that's basically the complications of eating food as a diabetic, hypertensive kidney failure dude, or diabetic hypertensive kidney failure dude. Genius, wizard. But I think it's going well, considering I believe that other people probably couldn't do what I've done, like holding a breathing technique for 14 hours a day for 6 months to change your physiology. It will change if you can do the things that your willpower may be lacking in. It will change if you can keep up the practices. You will change if you can eat properly. I tell this to people, and people will work in kidneys. I'm like, you guys are taking your shit for granted. Why are you overweight when you can just do this, and this, and this for a year and you'll be fine? You'll be reversing your aging for 20 years. If you've never actually tried to fix your health and you're 60 years old, you can easily switch your diet and de-age 20 years over the next 10. It's it's far-fetched, crazy stuff to think about, but I found that it's terribly true. And I say terribly is because most people will never realize the truth. And I've talked to people that want to implement some type of change in their life, but just the motivation from finding out that there's a way and then trying it will give a person a little bit of the placebo effect that they're looking for. But most people, in fact, 100% of them so far that I've spoken with, coached, if you will, have failed miserably or either never started or were non-starters. Like my brother, he's a non-starter. He does his own thing, but he doesn't take advice. So he's never really even done the things that I set out for him. And then he'll come to me and tell me how they don't work. I'm like, nigga, it's you that ain't working. You ain't doing the shit. Like, come on now. Try to bullshit. I can't do it. But, and that just seems to be the predominant human condition, is like you just lack the wherewithal to do the things that you need to do because of the distractions and the addiction to food and behaviors and this true life, this herb life, this like correct food combining life. It's difficult to uphold coming out of regular American society and diet where you've been dumbed down with poisons. Your brain is lacking, your body's lacking, your spirit's lacking. So how are you gonna get up and do this magnanimous thing and change your existence? You can't. Your energy's too low. Your vibration's too weak. So all these things take time and energy to build up. Sometimes you got to do a little bit, and build up to a crescendo of activity that is beneficial for you. And most people just can't and don't. I don't know. I have opinions on why. But honestly, I could tell you, I don't know why. I don't know why I fail. I fail all the time. But I'm rigorously obsessed with my process. So my failures are motivations and another opportunity to start anew. I move forward and fail on a daily basis, but I have invested in my failures, and they motivate me to hit the next level the next time I try to go forward with my diet and my life. So without getting too convoluted and away from my whole point to making this, it's very complicated to juggle your electrolytes as a person on who has CKD and type 1 diabetes when you're trying to eat right and take herbs, because there's potassium and electrolytes in everything that you, especially when it comes to these extracts, these herbal extracts and these, straight hardcore herbs and mushrooms. I want to take more mushrooms. Those are the ones that have the most of the highest values of potassium. Hawthorn root, leaf, and flower for your heart. That shit puts my potassium up with 1 cup. I can't even drink that. Luckily, the blood cleansers are pretty easy on potassium. I don't know what they're made of, root herbs, and I can drink that every day, and I never have a problem. But a lot of other things I have on, I ate an avocado the day before yesterday, ended up calling off work. I was poisoned, potassium. I had to take a ton of insulin and eat a bunch of bread and meat just to turn down the alkaline value and turn down and provide my body with the sugar that it would need for the insulin to metabolize my blood sugar without it tanking. So I had to eat a whole bunch of bread and process like crap just to unpoison myself from the potassium. So it's literally a double-edged sword. Taking the medicine and doing the medical protocols will put you farther in danger, and you try to come out of that danger and it poisons you. So it's a fucked way to live, I'll tell you that. But I guess I'll stop. I feel like I have elaborated my point at least 3 times. So I say peace. Have a good day.